Hi and welcome to my review of The Goodies, the complete BBC collection. Today we're up to Charity Bounce, also known as London to Brighton. The boys are trying to raise money for charity but with little success until they approach the head of the Sparkly Pegs toothpaste company with the idea of doing a sponsored walk to Brighton. Reluctantly, Mr. Sparkly Pegs agrees, but in order to pay as little money as possible, he tries to sabotage the event by making the boys do the journey on space hoppers. Little does he realise, however, that the boys love space hoppers, and they enjoy their bounce so much they keep going all the way around the world. There is just something a little bit off about this episode, and I'm struggling to articulate exactly what it is. I think one of the problems is that the goodies seem to be hardly in it, except for the film sequences, which are, free of dialogue. Their only dialogue scenes are the sort of setup at the beginning and then coming in at the end. And I felt like this episode really suffers from their absence. In the excellent Robert Ross book, Goodies Rule OK, he has some quotes from Bill Oddie where Bill is saying that this episode was the last straw for him as far as having guest stars on the show was concerned. And he communicates that they had trouble with Freddie Jones, who seemed to not know his lines and was very unpredictable. And I'm wondering if some of this tension is reflected in the strange tone of the show. Ultimately, there are just too many scenes with Freddie Jones carrying the episode and not enough of the goodies for me. But even the look of this episode felt different to me. The look of the filmed segments and the studio segments. It almost made me wonder if another director had stepped in or an assistant director. It just feels different. Another thing I found a bit off-putting about this episode, and I do recall finding this a bit unsettling when I was a youngster watching it, is those weird, creepy teeth that all the people at Sparkly Pegs are wearing. And I know they're intended to be funny, but they just do seem to be creepy. Unfortunately, I found few laughs in this episode, except for the stuffed olive soap commercial, which I thought was very funny. I'm a big fan of Freddie Jones. I've loved him in The Elephant Man and all the other wonderful performances he gave throughout his career. And I'm not sure if I'm being prejudiced by Bill Oddie's remarks about him, but I didn't feel he worked fantastically well in this episode. Likewise, the other guest star, Jonathan Cecil, who plays Freddie Jones' minion in the episode, he gives a really odd performance. If you listen to him, his vocal delivery is spot on, but it seems like he just doesn't know how to act in front of a camera. Gilly McIvor plays the secretary, and I kept being distracted by how much she reminded me of Jaws' girlfriend from the Bond film Moonraker. I guess the most interesting segment of this episode is the bit where the boys are bouncing through South Africa, and they do make a series of very pointed jokes about apartheid, particularly the one where the minion's face gets covered in soot and the white policeman beats him up because he's not white enough. And I felt like they were sort of testing the water here for the more extended take on apartheid they do in the upcoming apartheid episode. I'm sorry to say this episode felt like a bit of a misfire for me, but I think it really does prove Bill's point that the goodies' greatest strength was their interactions with each other, and that a guest star did not always lift the show. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you'll join me next time when we move on to the episode The Baddies, also known as Double Trouble. I'll see you then. Bye.